All right, so we're back at it again for another One Piece chapter live reaction. This week we have chapter 1158. It is titled Rocks versus Harald. So the cover story continues, and this is volume, 40. It says, "Here lies the pirate of justice." And we get the name, Kozuki Moria. Okay, so I would assume that's Gecko Moria, which would make sense as to why he was on Wano, but we thought he broke in. And no, it means Moria's parent, probably, maybe. And maybe that's why Moria had the beef with Kaido that we had heard about. That would be something, but I'm interested in seeing where this cover story goes. So Moria is related to Odin? I mean, it's just crazy to think about. I don't know, unless that's the same Moria. Either that Kozuki Moria is the Gecko Moria we know, or it's like his parent. Either way, it's absolutely bananas. But Yamato looks real cool, and we get to see the one of the Yakuza bosses from Wano, and we get to see Kiku. Oda's note, "I've heard that if you eat lots of oil, it'll help burn fat and lose weight, so I'm glad to eat oil." I have never heard that before, Oda. But good for you, bud. All right, so getting into the chapter, we start with the narration. "A certain sea, Roger's ship, the Oro Jackson." And then we cut to somebody saying, Captain Roger, I heard Shocky opened up a place on Pirate Island. They say it's unbelievable." We cut to Roger looking like doing that, like, I'm upset face. Like, she's where? She's not with me. She's on Pirate Island. It's pretty funny. Okay. The next thing that we see, it's the crew shouting to Roger, saying things. And the first one we see is a gentleman whose name I don't remember. It has been released. I don't remember what his name is. He has long hair, and he has a long-billed hat, and he has, like, goggles, essentially, or something that go over the front. That makes me and other people believe that this guy is Big News Morgans in his human form, rather than his albatross form. Anyways, it's him. We see Scopper. We see, I believe, the guy who is the helmsman, somebody else, and we see the fishman, who I can't remember, who is on Roger's crew. And they're saying, we worried we'd never see her again when she quit being Empress, but now we know where she is. Let's go. Doesn't Rocks control Pirate Island, says the fishman. Scopper sitting there thinking. And then he nudges over to Rayleigh and says, "Say, Rayleigh, is it just me, or has Roger been in a bad mood ever since you two spoke in his quarters?" And Rayleigh goes, because I'm assuming Scopper knows just as well that she's into, we're actually going to get to see. Then it cuts to Rayleigh Scopper saying, "What did you discuss?" And Rayleigh says nothing. And then we get a flashback within the flashback. This is flashbackception, guys. And it's Rayleigh saying, "I wasn't going to say anything to the crew, but I figured I should talk to you one-on-one, Roger. Was this during our last fight with the Kuja pirates, just before she quit?" So, yeah, it was exactly what I thought. Rayleigh's telling Roger about how him and Shocky have a thing. Shakuyaku did seem off back then, like she was sick or something. I worried she stepped down because of her health. But you're telling me she gave you this during that battle? Yeah, I was speechless. This can only be described as a love letter. And it says, "Come and make me yours." And she gave it to Rayleigh. I like Shocky. I like her style. And you're not interested, says Roger. Like, what? And Rayleigh says, "I'd be lying if I said that. I just don't want to be tied down." Dude, Rayleigh's a pimp. He's like, nah, dude, I want to be tied down. And I don't think he means to one woman, because I think he's very fine with just, with Shocky. But it's that he's enjoying living his life on the sea now, being a pirate and having fun and adventures. He doesn't want to stop and just shack up on an island. And Roger says, "Well, I do. Come on, men. I ain't giving up." Huh? You're energetic all of a sudden, Roger. Oh, that's the end of the flashback. That's when Roger says, "Come on, men. I ain't giving up." Huh? You're energetic all of a sudden, Roger, says the crew. Rayleigh's thinking. Roger then says, "Pirates live to plunder, and we don't stop till the prize is claimed. Ain't that right, fellas?" Crazy. Young Roger actually looks a lot like young, just a lot like Ace, which makes sense, but also like Shanks. They all have a very similar face to me, which is pretty cool. because they're all real badass characters. Cuts to the crew saying, "Is he still talking about Shocky? Yahahaha. Gotta be. Why else would we go to Rock's Island, of all places? Everyone's got an equal chance. Let's go and get her. Marks, I'm hungry. Make food. It's already done. Dig in." So somebody named Marks, which is their cook. I didn't think they had a cook on the Roger crew, if I had remembered correctly. I thought we got a list of their jobs from Oda at one point, and they didn't have a cook. It says, wow. And then we cut to the narration, saying, "Sometime later, 40 years ago, the holy land of Marijois." Somebody saying, "You're impatient, Garling. The previous competition just ended." Garling responds, "I'm aware, but while we were completing another assignment, we briefly stopped at that island." It's not affiliate. It's a non-affiliated state, but it has a unique culture. We tried offering them membership in the world government, but they declined. And this is Garling speaking while he's young, speaking to the five elders. Where was it? But they declined. While their abundant resources would certainly prove valuable for us, we just made an outrageous discovery. They have question marks like, huh? What? It was a completely unexpected find, and the Great One will surely be pleased with it. In 2 years' time, I strongly urge you to hold the next hunt at God Valley. Yeah, this is God's Knight Figurling Garling, or Saint Garling, future elder. So, as we, knew, he used to be a God's Knight, a normal God's Knight, before he took over and led the God's Knights and then became an elder in the current story. This would imply that during the previous, while they were away competing, or completing an assignment, so the God's Knights were out doing something somewhere in the world, working on something for the world government, and they briefly stopped in at God Valley for whatever reason. And they just say how it's a non-affiliated state, but it has a unique culture, which I'm curious to know what that is. We tried offering them membership into the world government, but they declined. While their abundant resources would certainly prove valuable for us, we just made an outrageous discovery. And that's what I'm interested in, because we knew that it was full of resources, and that's why they were there, but I'm wondering what the other discovery was. It was a completely unexpected find. And also, this proves that Garling, as a God's Knight, knows about Emu. Now, it makes me question, then, do all God's Knights, of course, know about Emu? That would make sense. So it's the God's Knights and the five elders, I guess, who know about Emu, and that's about it in the world government. Maybe the Commander-in-Chief being Khan. Maybe. Then cuts to narration. Shocky's Ripoff Bar, Pirate Island. People yelling, "Get in a single file line, you idiots." What? It's that much? I don't have that kind of money. Come to the back. You can work it off with 2 years of unpaid labor. Huh? I came all the way from the North Blue. I hear you serve some great whiskey. And that Shocky makes a mean stew. And it's all the pirates literally just gooning for Shocky. A cute compliment like that makes me smile. But I'm not going to personally cook for people like you. What? She's just how I dreamed. I'm so happy. Shocky-san, my special bean stew is ready, but we're out of whiskey. Use the cheap rum instead. Anyway, here's your top quality whiskey. 3 cheers for our host. Poor service. I love this. The Shocky's essentially literally doing like that newer trend, I guess I've seen in restaurants, or maybe it's not a trend, but what newer restaurants do, where they treat you poor and they have bad service, and people go because they like that. Absolutely wild. She's like the OG of doing it, and she's just got everybody simping for her. It then cuts over to her talking to Rox. She says, "What happened, Rox? I'm kind of sad. That satisfied grin isn't for me anymore." He says. As we cut to him with some of his pirates. Mama, says young Big Mom. See, a woman's intuition is a scary thing, huh? Rox responds, "Shut up. I said it's none of your business." "What's going on?" says Wang. Dummy is what Stussy is saying, and then it cuts, I believe it's Whitebeard thinking, or it's Stussy thinking. It has to be a woman. The guy's grinning like he's expecting a kid. And then right in that moment, Roger and his pirates bust in, and all we get is, "Shocky, I've come for you. Shocky-chan, it's me. Oh, wow, it's the Roger pirates. Get a pic, get a pic." I'm assuming that's the guy, the snap guy back behind Roger that's saying get a pic. It's the guy who goes around with the camera. I think he's the information gatherer, if I remember. I can't remember his name, though. Shockey says, oh, Roger. And then and Roger are clashing, banging heads together, rather. And it says, Roger, how many times do I gotta tell you that this is my island? Roger responds, didn't you hear? Fighting at Shockey's is forbidden. So stuff it, you porcupine. Nice. It's a great insult. Rock says, isn't there a huge line out there? How'd you get in here? Did you wait in it? There was a line? I hardly noticed, says Roger. Drink up, everybody. Yeah. Whitebeard goes outside. I can't stand those guys. They're so noisy. Put it on Newgate's tab. Nah, leave it on Roxy, says. Roger, where's Rayleigh, or where's Ray-san? Shockey says to Roger. I told him to come, but he said he wasn't feeling well, so he's napping on the ship. Gloriosa jumps at Roger. Kya, is that you, Roger? I've wanted to see you again so badly. Now let me on your ship. Ah, Gloriosa, I told you no. I'm not into lovey-dovey women who throw themselves at me. But if Shockey asks, it'd be different. That makes no sense. Yeah, Roger's a wild guy. What can I say? And Shockey says, I'll pass. Rogers just dots again. Yo, isn't Newgate still here? I want to drink with him. Big Mom yells, he left. Mama. This is so wild seeing these people interact. Like Yonko of like current day and old day and like legends. Damn it, Rayleigh. Why didn't you come? Is what Roger's thinking. Roger's like, damn, dude. If I'm not drinking with my boy Rayleigh, I want to be drinking with my guy, Whitebeard. Oh, they're singing Binks' sake on board the Oro Jackson, or at least that looks like Rayleigh is, and they do have the egg still on the ship. Shockey's on her way over, sighs, and looks like she faints. Yep, she faints. Empress Shockey, I want to take care of her. Let me help. Move it, boys. Keep away from her. Cuts to the narration. Shakuyaku's rules ensured that anyone coming to the island to visit her establishment would be granted safe passage. Even the fiercest of pirates would keep the peace if they crossed paths. But back at sea, all bets were off, as we see Roger and Rock's faces apart from each other, pointed opposite. Narration. Realm of the Dead. Elbaf. So we're cutting back to Elbaf. We're finally maybe getting back to Loki. Oh, it is Loki. Little Loki's like breaking a tree and smashing, either attacking the animals or smashing these trees. Maybe he's fighting with Hyrudine. Yeah, there's Hyrudine who's also swinging something. And then we look up to see Rox and Harald clashing, which is the title of the chapter. This is what we expected. It's pretty badass. We actually don't see any Conquerors hockey, so it looks like that Loki and Harald were just getting blown back from the clash then. Yep, we see some Conquerors hockey coming off. They both fly backwards. Harald, the government's really got you wrapped around their finger. I was torn. Is this really something worth killing your friend over? And in the end, you just bow down to them? Dumbass, you're being their tool, says Rox. Is this their answer? They see you giants as nothing but a military asset. You'll all be enslaved as soldiers. What happened to your warrior pride? Don't you have your own will? Wow, as Harald sends Rox back flying with another slash. Quit talking like you know everything, says Harald. Our warriors created a history of violence. Elbaf is shackled by it, held back from achieving true peace. And then we cut to, again, a flashback with Harald speaking to people from different countries. You seem to have a good heart, Harald, but a long time ago this country was attacked by giants. What kind of fear doesn't fade, or what kind of fear doesn't fade so easily? Or that kind of fear doesn't fade so easily. Sorry, says another king of another kingdom. Harald's then saying to Rox, listen, no matter how foolish the celestial dragons may be, they still have the influence in the world to bring Elbaf into the loop. Stop it, says Rox. They go to clash again. Oh, Rox actually attacks Harald. You cowardly rat. And just blasts him. Consider our business closed. You won't be getting another invite from me again. Rox yells at Harald. I am a king. I can't throw away my people's lives by following a villain like you into a losing battle, he says to Rox. Whoa, another clash where Conqueror's hockey spewing out. Narration. There was no true conclusion, but the unorthodox friendship had come to an end. The two would not meet again for some time. Not until the day of a certain incident. As we cut to Loki on Elbaf just sitting. More news about Rox. He's reading the newspaper. He isn't coming back, Loki. Shut up, you lying hag. Would you like some juice? And this is Harald's mom saying this. And then it cuts to 39 years ago, West Blue, God Valley, says the narration. And then somebody's saying, two twin boys. I'm guessing this is going to be Shanks and Shamrock. Saying they're so cute and they've got your red hair. I hope that they grow up to be as bright as you. Don't worry, we'll pinch in since their daddy is away. Thank you, mister. Have you settled the names for them? Shanks and Shamrock. A twin birth. Yep, and it's Shanks and Shamrock, both in a crib at God Valley. That's pretty wild, and that's the end of the chapter. We don't have any hint that we're going to be going on break. We might get to figure out who their mom is now, though, since somebody's actually talking to her, so we might get a name for her. Overall, the chapter is pretty cool for it to be titled Harald and versus Rox. They didn't actually do that much fighting, but they did seem to be on a pretty even keel, which is pretty great power scaling-wise for Harald. Hopefully Haraldine gets near that strong, but I doubt it. Loki more likely would be about that strong. I think we've concluded with Roger simping over Shocky. I think we're about to move into God Valley next chapter, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm pretty sure we're going to start cutting into the actual God Valley flashback. We're going to figure out why it happened exactly, what all the treasures were, and the whole incident, and how everybody came to end up fighting each other. Between the God's Knights and Rox and Roger and the world government, like the Marines. We're going to get to see how everything shook down. Overall, though, this was a really good chapter. Nothing super crazy, but a lot of fun stuff. I love seeing people like young Roger interact with Big Moms and Wang and Whitebeard and Shocky. It's really cool getting to see all of them interact with one another. Absolutely wild. And getting to see Roger crew interactions on the ship definitely seemed like what we would expect. Just like how the Straw Hats are. Overall, good chapter, though. I'm looking forward to next week. I bet we're going to get an absolute banger. We'll probably get at least one or two more before we hit another break, and if that's the case, then we're probably going to get into God Valley soon. I'm still in the opinion we're not ending this flashback anytime soon. I mean, we're on 11:58 now. I wouldn't expect us to get out of this flashback anytime in the next probably 5 chapters or more, at least. 7, maybe. At least. That'd put us at 65. Even then, we might even go longer. Because I think the longest flashback we've actually had was Kozuki Odin's, and I think that was about 14 chapters. If I had to guess, this is going to stretch for a while. I'm willing to bet we're probably still going to be in the flashback at the end of the year. Because towards the end of the year, we start getting less chapters. So I'd be willing to bet with how many we have left, we're probably still going to be in this flashback with how things are going. Because I don't think we're just going to skip through God Valley and then come back to it again. I think this is the time we're finally going to get to see God Valley. So I think it's going to take some time and actually flesh it out, since it's such a big event that really kind of helped mold what the world is going to be like in the generation just prior to the current day. But anyways, we're going to drop it right there. Try to keep this video kind of short. I hope everybody's had a good week, and I hope everybody has a good week to come. Assuming there's just a chapter next week, I'll have another video up then. I'm going to try to drop another video in the in-between, or maybe a gameplay or something, to try to get more videos up on the channel. But until then, hope everybody's had a good day, a good week. Hope everybody has a great day and a good week to come. Go out, tell somebody you love them, that you care about them. Spend time with your friends, your family. Go pet a dog or a cat. Have a good one, guys. Bye.